I wanted to introduce myself. So my name is Lilia Jimenez. I'm the program coordinator for PledgeLA, and I want to introduce my wonderful colleagues, Calvin and Santiago, who are also joining the session. I don't know if Calvin or Santiago, you want to quickly come off mute to say hello?
Sure. Hey, everybody, I'm Calvin Sell. I work at the Annenberg Foundation with Lilia. We're on the PledgeLA team. Thank you all for coming today, and thanks for the Grid110 and PledgeLA teams for all your work preparing for this session tonight. So excited to talk to you all.
Hey, everybody. My name is Santiago. I'm the new intern for Annenberg Tech and PledgeLA. I've been here for 2 months, and I'm excited to get and do this info session.
Awesome. And if the Grid110 wants to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'll start. Hi, everybody. I'm Mickey Reynolds. I lead the Grid110 team. We have a couple of members from our team here, so allowed them to introduce themselves also. I'll pass it off to Allie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Zafiris. I'm the operations manager here at Grid110. So nice to see so many new faces on here. And I will hand it over to Margot.
Hey everyone, I'm Margot. I'm the program associate at Grid110. Like Ellie said, excited to see some new faces, some also faces from those who've been in the Grid110 community. And I'll pass it over to Elle.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. I am the event associate at Grid110. Super excited to see all of you. I'm also an alum from this program, and I can't wait for you guys to hear what you guys have in store for you.
Awesome. I think that's everyone. So we wanted to give a little bit of an overview of the agenda for today. So first, I wanted to say, just to kind of ground us in the purpose of this session. So this time is really about you all, the founders and the entrepreneurs that are joining us today. And we're going to be sharing info about the program, and you're also going to get a chance to meet a few of our incredible alums. So this is kind of the perfect time for you to assess if you're a great fit for the program, and yeah, to just have a chance to connect with all of us. So we're going to start off by diving into just a little bit about PledgeLA and Grid110 and the work that we do. Then we're going to transition into the program overview. We're going to talk a little bit about eligibility, who we see as a great fit for the program. We're going to go over the program timeline, as well as the accelerator program with Grid110. And then we are also going to be reviewing some of the application and some of the short answer questions for that before jumping into our alumni fireside chat with Jocelyn of Todo Verde and Montré of Amp Beauty LA. So that's a brief overview of what we'll be doing for today. Next slide. So to kind of share a little bit about PledgeLA, we introduced ourselves. You got to know a little bit about who we are and our roles, but to jump into the work that we do. So PledgeLA is a group of more than 210 LA-based venture capital firms and tech companies that are collectively working to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the Founders Fund program is one of the core programs that we lead. So this slide shows our other programs that we coordinate, including our tech mentorship program that is for first-generation college students and recent grads, our VC internship program that is for underrepresented folks looking to break into the venture capital sector and gain experience with the goal of landing hopefully a full-time venture role. And then our venture data report, which is our annual report that tracks diversity and equity in the LA tech and VC ecosystem. We are really, really lucky and grateful to have Grid110 as a partner for the PledgeLA Founders Fund, and they support with the technical assistance portion of the program, which they'll be able to share a little bit more about later on. So our goal overall with the Founders Fund program specifically is to help Black and Latinx founders strengthen businesses, create jobs, and build generational wealth. So I will pass it over to Mickey to share a little bit about Grid110.
Thanks, Aaliyah. We are really excited to be teaming up with PledgeLA on the Founders Fund for the third year of this program. For those of you who are not familiar, Grid110 is a business accelerator and community providing no cost, no equity programs for entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. We've supported over 270 companies, with 70% being led by women and 77% being led by founders of color. When we talk about our organization, we feel like it's really important that we lead with our mission. It's our why, it's our North Star, and we really hope that it resonates with you. Our mission is to foster the most thriving, inviting, and inclusive community for entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. We believe that anyone with the goal of becoming an entrepreneur should have the chance to pursue it and to receive support along the way. Our work impacts individuals who are often overlooked by traditional entrepreneurial ecosystems, and that's what drives us to make the entrepreneurial path more inclusive, equitable, and accessible. 3 kind of key pillars to our programs. So they're cohort-based. You'll be going through it with several other companies who will quickly become not just peers, but your biggest champions, supporters, and friends. It's one of our core values as well as PledgeLA's. We've been doing this for 24 cohorts now, so I think you can have the confidence really in our ability to do this right. We encourage you to always be learning, regardless of if this is your first business or your fourth. You'll have the opportunity to learn from industry experts, seasoned entrepreneurs, our team, and maybe more importantly, from each other. And lastly, we're a nonprofit. This program and the funding that comes with it is available to you at no cost, no equity taken. We truly are invested in the success of your business and how the community at large will benefit from it. Next, we'd like to cover some of our values. So I want to go to the next slide. So first, community, we believe in fostering a fellowship where people collide, connect, and engage. Having a sense of belonging is truly important. We believe in creating pathways, not barriers, where people feel seen and accepted. Generosity, we believe in promoting a culture where each person thinks and behaves in the best interest of the community. And empathy, we believe in the ability to listen and understand others, where people feel inspired and motivated to achieve at a level of understanding.
Oh, wow. So I think it's me now to talk about eligibility, right? Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Mickey. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the PledgeLA Founders Fund and eligibility. Who are we looking for in this program? And as Lilia said, this program is really designed to support Black and Latinx or Latino or Latine entrepreneurs. The reason it's designed to support those 2 groups specifically is because Lilia mentioned we gather data about the money flowing in LA Tech. We've seen, this probably is no news to many people on this call, but that the lowest amounts of capital, particularly to women of color, Black and Latinx women, are coming from tech investors. And we think that directing capital and resources to those founders is going to be a critical part of changing that, of increasing diversity in the tech and innovation ecosystem, and building a better entrepreneurial ecosystem. So we're going to walk through the eligibility. And the secondary thing you'll see is this program was really designed for businesses that don't have existing networks of wealthy investors that are really looking for that early capital to scale and grow their company. So this program is only open to for-profit businesses. We're just calling that out as a difference because we know that some of Grid110's other programs are open to nonprofits. This program is for for-profit businesses because of the structure of the training we provide. Businesses also must be located in Los Angeles County. So anywhere in Los Angeles County, but the business itself must be located in LA County. The reason for this being the funding we receive, almost all the funding, which is raised by PledgeLA and Annenberg and all of our network, is from other LA area foundations. So they're looking to see that impact countywide. Also, as we mentioned the reason before of who this money is focused on, at least one founder or co-founder of the business should identify as Black or Latinx, and that should be the person who's really participating in the program, who's applying and leading the application. Also, in terms of eligibility, the company should have raised less than a total of $250,000 from any external source. You can have had much more revenue than that, that's totally fine, but just in terms of external money that you've raised, any kind of capital like that, external sources should be $250K or less by the time you apply. Also, those are the bare eligibility requirements, but the most successful applicants, we do have a rubric and we like to be super transparent about what we're looking for. We really look for signs of a strong team that really is well equipped to lead the business, is ready to do it, and a strong product, a team that has a good sense of their market and the opportunity, who they're trying to serve, and some evidence of traction. And what do we mean by traction? Not being lifted up by those things in a hospital bed, but some evidence of, your business actually making, some progress, be it, an increase in social media followers. It does not necessarily have to be revenue, but some way that you've validated your product or idea and evidence that it's ready to grow or growing. Also, because of the funding we receive, we are looking for businesses that are making an additional impact on the community. So there's no cookie cutter way we expect your business to do that. We ask each and every business, how do you make an impact on the community? That could look like where you're sourcing your products or your suppliers, or where you're hiring, or the product you serve and how it shows up in the community. So we are just looking for businesses that are thinking about that as part of the way that they do business. So cool. I'll pass it over now to Ali for the program timeline.
Yes, so let's talk a little bit about some important dates to be mindful of over the next many months ahead. As you can see, this stretches over the course of summer and fall here. So applications are now open and will be open until June 11th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you submit before that deadline. Super important. Note that we have another info session on June 1st at 1 p.m. So just another opportunity to learn more about the program, similar to this info session. So, but that's just another date to be mindful of. And then after the application closes, our team will be thoroughly reviewing applications through June and July and conduct interviews over the month of July before finalizing the cohort in mid-August. So the program itself will kick off at the end of August, starting the week of August 28th, and then wrap up towards the end of November. So additionally, you'll see that the grant money will be dispersed to selected founders in 2 installments in October and November. We will also have other events, both virtual and in person, sprinkled throughout summer and fall. So we'll send more details for all of that as we finalize those. But these are just the most important dates to be mindful of right now. And all of this is, again, on our website. So you have this in multiple places, but just wanted to reiterate here.
So let's get into a little bit of the program itself. So it is a 3-month virtual program that is aimed at supporting early stage teams through strategic planning and guidance on near-term execution. In terms of who we're looking for, so ideally, we're looking to accelerate businesses, which is why it's called an accelerator. So we're ideally looking for businesses that have founders that are hopefully full-time or committing to working on their businesses full-time, that you have at a minimum a functional MVP, which is a minimum viable product, or you have launched your product or service and you are generating revenue, have customers. So what we're looking for in terms of traction, as Calvin had mentioned, is some sort of external validation that people want what you have. So that could be in terms of revenue, it could be users. If you have a free product, maybe you have an app or some type of digital product, or maybe you've gotten a little bit of funding. Maybe you've won grants, you've won pitch competitions, anything like that that really shows that there's some sort of external validation outside of yourself. So you're past the initial idea stage. People are interested in what you're doing. You've identified a problem that you're trying to solve. So this is kind of the area in terms of the profile of the founders and companies that we're looking to support. Next slide. So once you're accepted into the program, you will spend the next 12 weeks with us. The program meets virtually via Zoom, just like this. The program will start August 28th and it will finish up November 27th. These will be weekly Zoom meetings that take place on Thursday evenings. These sessions include interactive workshops, skill building sessions, small group breakouts, and really incredible guest speakers. The program is designed to allow you to focus on running the day-to-day operations of your business while layering in key support where needed. Outside of the weekly sessions, you have the opportunity to book one-on-one advising hours with different members of our teams to dive in deeper into topics or to discuss challenges that you might be specific to your own company. In addition, you'll be paired up into accountability groups with 3 to 4 other companies to meet weekly with and get to know more intimately over those 12 weeks. We've found this to be really integral to community building, but also offer an opportunity to receive and accept peer mentorship. And finally, being accepted into our programs also welcomes you into the larger Grid110 and PledgeLA communities. We have over 400 founders in our community Slack channel that you have immediate access to, along with optional community events and a perks package of service discounts and credits that are valued at over $70,000. I will pass it off to Calvin to share a little bit more about PledgeLA's involvement.
Cool. Thank you so much, Mickey. Yeah. So one of the most important things, I know, not the most, but one of the most important things is, yeah, the capital. We really intended this program to provide a meaningful amount of non-dilutive capital. So we do raise that $500K annually that goes to the 20 businesses that will be selected. 100% of it goes to you. And, we also ensure that, every dollar donated through our fiscal sponsor, the Acevedo Foundation, actually goes to a company. So Annenberg Foundation covers all the other program costs, but just as an FYI, because we want all that capital to go to you. And we also are not very particular in terms of how you use that funding. As long as it is for your business, you share your plan. That plan isn't then later approved after you get in. We bet on you once you're accepted the program, and then you're able to flexibly use the funds in the way that you see fit. So founders have used it for all kinds of things, from helping hire employees, for targeted ad and media efforts, moving into new warehouses, getting new vehicles, all kinds of things related to their business. Also, we know that 12 weeks goes by really fast. And one of the things that I think, all of our alumni, including some who are here today, can really attest is true is we really value the relationships we build with folks in this program. We are trying to have this be a small and intimate group so that you can get to know us, and so that we as PledgeLA, we are here to serve you. We want to remain connected to you after the program, so that when you have ongoing needs, when you are going out for other grants or opportunities, we can be a resource to you. We can promote your stuff on social media. We can invite you to other events, find ways to work with your business. So we do all of that. And also we are trying to find ways to support our alumni with the kinds of capital you're seeking after, whether that's VC funding, if you're looking for other kinds of grant programs or accelerators. We have a lot of connections and people, even beyond the folks on this call, who you'll meet throughout the program, who are excited to help. And that's that same network of LA founders and investors. So Lilia mentioned we have nearly 80 venture firms that are part of PledgeLA, hundreds of tech companies. So chances are we know someone at many places you'd like to be connected to in LA, and people are part of PledgeLA because they want to help in situations like this. So we are grateful to meet you. That's how we'll support. Cool.
Great. So next we'll talk a little bit more about the application itself. So for those of you who haven't checked out the application just yet, you'll see that we capture information around your founding team, as well as some of your company details, to get a sense of where you've been, where you're currently at, and where you're growing with the business. So you'll see towards the end of the application that there is a series of short answer questions, some of which are highlighted here. So for all of the short answer questions, we ask that you limit your response to 500 characters or less. So try to be as succinct as possible while giving us the details to really illuminate all the work that you're doing on your business. And we recommend that you work on your responses on a separate document, as the application does not save as you go. So it can be really helpful to kind of brainstorm, formulate separately, and then add in your responses once they're finalized and they're in line with the character limits and good to go from there. So some of the short answer questions that we include are listed here. So the first of which, I think Mickey and Calvin have both touched on traction and the importance of it a bit already, but is tell us more about your company's traction to date. So we want to know more about the work you've done on your business. So we know that traction doesn't look the same business to business. So this is where you can share any growth you've experienced, from customer or user growth to external funding raised, if you have any already, any pitch prizes or competitions you've won, if you're generating revenue, or any recent growth around that you've experienced. This could also include things like newsletter, mailing list growth, social media growth, any recent partnerships you've had. Is really designed to get a better sense of the work you've done, and we keep it open so that you can tell us, specific to your business, what traction has looked like, and highlight some of that recent growth for us. So next we have, why are you interested in participating in the Founders Fund program, and how will it help you achieve your upcoming goals in the next 3 to 6 months? So really focusing in on why you're interested in the program itself and how it will help you take you where you want to go. And then followed by specifically looking at the funding component, how will that take your company to the next level as well? So those are separate questions. So think about those, in line with each other, but a little bit differently as well. And then back to, one of our values and a part of our mission is this community element. So really talking about how you and your company currently engage with their community. So your current efforts there, what that looks like. Again, that could look like a lot of different things, but just want to emphasize the importance of community in what we do and therefore in what you do as well. So have the opportunity to talk about that there. Next, we have a spot for you to talk about, things that we wouldn't find on your LinkedIn or resume. So interesting facts about you and your founding team, really to get a sense of who you are beyond, the resume and the LinkedIn and the business background there. So definitely have some fun with that. We really enjoy just getting to know you as founders and learning more about you through those fun facts. So, and then if we can go to the next slide. Perfect. So after the short answers, we have a required video that you're asked to answer these 3 prompts in. So this does not need to be anything fancy with lots of production or editing, expertise. This can really just be recorded on a phone or computer. We do ask that this is an original video. So don't submit something that's, promotional or marketing that you've done previously. This should be original, answering the prompts listed here. And yeah, this is really helpful to get to know you and get to know, more about your background and the plans you have to make an impact on the local community as well. Another note here is just please be sure to test out that link that you submit works. So send it to a friend to test out, make sure that they can access it, or, test it out on a different device just to confirm. We also list a few suggested platforms in the application as well, if you're not sure kind of what platform to host that on. So just make sure you test that out and it's good to go. The rest of the attachments are optional, but if you have a pitch deck or a company presentation you want to upload, please do. In addition, we have a spot for any supplemental documents that you think would be helpful for us to see in considering your application. So this could look like a number of different things. I know we've seen founders who have a really kind of built out to-do list of upcoming plans and how they're organizing that. That could also be a spot to upload maybe that promotional or marketing video that you've worked on, if that's something you want to share. This could really be a range of things. So anything that you think would be helpful in considering your application, feel free to upload there. So as you can see, there's a lot of opportunities here to really highlight all the work that you've done and your unique team and all that you're looking to build. So really put your best foot forward here. Take the opportunity to brag about all that you've been working on, because we're excited to see it, and it'll be really helpful in considering you as an applicant. I will also note here that because of the volume of applications we receive, we won't be able to accept any sort of revisions or edits after the fact once it's submitted. So just make sure that everything is prepped and ready to go beforehand before you hit submit, so that you can feel like everything is good to go once you've hit submit on that application. So yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to make sure to highlight as far as the application, and excited to see all that comes through from you all and more.
Thank you so much, Allie. And we know there are a lot of elements of the application, but don't let them stress you out too much. We designed it to get to know a lot about your business, but it's not like a long, college essay application, things like that. Focus more on just, sharing your ideas clearly so you can put your best foot forward. Don't be afraid to brag so we can get to know you and learn about your business. Awesome. Well, I will talk about our next section. We just wanted to tell you a little bit about now that, as Mickey said, this is our 3rd year doing the program in 2020, after we and many other organizations were thinking, what can we do that's deeper work in terms of better supporting founders of color in the ecosystem, particularly Black and Latinx founders. We felt that non-dilutive capital was it. We needed to provide, again, that funding to help companies grow their business beyond just that community and technical assistance. So you're looking at our alumni for the past 2 cohorts. Some of them are on the call, thank you for being here. We have started the program in 2021 with the PledgeLA Fund for South LA Founders. We then expanded eligibility from South LA and adjoining communities to all of Greater LA and LA County, which is basically the same as it is now, to all Los Angeles County. And since 2021 cohort, we supported 35 businesses and provided $875,000 to Black and Latinx businesses in the last 2 cohorts. So we were going to do 500,000 more this year. So hopefully one of them will be yours. And I also want to tell you, we set the program. It's great to do, the cohort and provide the capital, but we wanted to have a vision again beyond that of generational wealth. What's going to happen after the program? We think that's a great way to look at, is it working? Is it really having an impact? So if we can go to the next slide, we just wanted to highlight a couple of the impact stats that we like to brag about. We've tracked the impact of the program in 3 main ways. One, how much money have all the alumni raised if we stack that up together after the program? So money they've gotten in follow-on opportunities. So our alumni, those 35 companies, have raised more than 20 million in follow-on capital, and this is since 2021. So they had some tremendous growth. Also, they've hired more than 82 new employees. We look at the jobs that are created, whether they're full-time, part-time, and this is reported from the companies. We also, our third metric is we look at what percentage of companies are showing that consistent increased recurring revenue. How are you getting revenue higher, and is it staying there? So 70% of our alumni are showing that. You can also read a lot more about other milestones. We love celebrating and bragging about our alumni. So we hope, again, to be able to do that for you. And you can read more on our impact report, as well as some other feedback from alums, or ask them today. So yes, I know that Lilia is getting reconnected. She had a small computer issue. So we're going to move into our fireside chat. So if we could have our slide just for a moment, I want to introduce our 2 alumni. First, we're going to welcome Jocelyn Ramirez, the founder of Todo Verde, an amazing company I'm excited to have her tell you a bit more about. And she'll also be joined today by Montré Moore, one of the founders of AMP Beauty LA, another amazing alumni business. They were both part of last year's program, so they are fresh out of the program from the fall, so they can tell you all the good, bad, and the ugly from that. But yeah, if you'll join me, and please welcome, if we could have them be spotlit, please, and we'll kick off the fireside. Yes, and I love those chats. And Lilia, you're back, so I will turn it over to you to kick off the fireside. Thank you.
Thanks, Calvin. Yes, we love Zoom technical issues. My computer decided to restart, but we're back. Yeah, so thank you so much to Jocelyn and to Montré for being here and for joining us. Yeah, we can feel free to spotlight them as well. So I think just to get us started in kind of grounding in this special fireside chat with both of you, we wanted to start off by just asking if you could just tell us a little bit about your company and what led you to found it. Maybe Montré, we can start with you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to Lilia, Mickey, and Calvin. It's so nice to see everyone. And Jocelyn, it's like bringing back really great memories. And I'm curious if we have any beauty founders in the chat. If you do, please shout out your business. I would love to see who from the beauty side is participating in today's session. My name is Montré. I'm one of the co-founders of AMP Beauty LA. We also have my other co-founder, Angel, in the chat. So show her some love. And we basically started AMP out of a necessity of wanting to have access to diverse and inclusive beauty products. So AMP Beauty LA is a digital retailer. We emphasize discovery of inclusive beauty for all textures and all shades, and really make it our mission to look for clean, non-toxic ingredients that will keep us safe, but yet also effective. So that's a little, I know we run a tight ship at Grid110, so I'm going to keep it short and pass it on.
Hey everyone, I was just typing in the chat right now. I'm actually at a vineyard for a work event, believe it or not. So don't mind the views. I'm actually like trying to tuck myself into like a little bush so that I can avoid any of the background sounds. But my name is Jocelyn. I'm the chef and founder of Todo Verde, and I started Todo Verde really because I wanted to be able to create really true to culture flavors in a plant forward way. So growing up in a low-income community of color, have seen my family and lots of folks in my community deal with so many health issues. And I really chose food, or food chose me as a way to reclaim my health and my community's health in a way that we can start to turn around some of the preventable health issues that a lot of us see in our community. So I started as food service at farmers markets and have evolved to do catering, catered Super Bowl last year in LA, the official tailgate, did food for a major concert venue through the LA Philharmonic for the last 2 years. And now I really shifted my focus to be pretty much our product line. I also published a cookbook, so I'm working on my second cookbook, but my product line is really where my main focus is now. And so, you know, Grid 110 has been, and like the PledgeLA Grid 110 cohort has been like such a an eye-opening experience, which we'll get into. But for me to just kind of like figure out like, where can I make most impact as a small business owner? And like, that was actually one of the sessions that we had. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's kind of in a nutshell what I do.
Thank you both for, those intros. I mean, I know that, you know, for PledgeLA and for Grid 110 and Beauty LA and Todo Verde are like some of our favorite companies. So yeah, just so excited to dig in a little bit more about your experience. And so maybe if we can then transition into you sharing a little bit about like what your experience was like in the program cohort, what value did that experience in the PledgeLA Founders Fund bring to your companies? And maybe Jocelyn, if you want to start for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that first and foremost, like one of the greatest values is just connecting with this really awesome network of POC, like Black and Brown entrepreneurs, hustlers, folks who are doing great work. And like, we're all in the same city. I've been a part of cohorts that are nationwide, and that's great. But to be in the same city with everyone and be able to meet people in person and just like get together for dinner and like just get to know each other a little bit more, I think first and foremost has been like the most impactful for me. Is like I have all these founder friends that are like within arm's length, you know, like that I can tap their shoulder when I need some support. That has been really great. But then also like the network that Grid 110 and PledgeLA has brought together, like each week, to be able to share their expertise. Like I have definitely reached out to people, had meetings aside from the general group meetings that we've had, and have learned so much from these folks who are willing to give you their time and learn from their great knowledge, their vast knowledge of like what they're experts in. It's provided just for me guidance that I didn't have before. Like I mentioned before, like I come from a low income community of color. Like I don't have all these like, you know, folks who have like access to capital, who have access to like tons of knowledge for a small business like mine. And so to be able to really lean into this network and ask questions that sometimes I might feel like silly asking because I just literally don't know. You know, this space has been like really inviting, really empowering, and I'm so happy that you all are even like interested in applying, because I think it's one of the best cohorts that I've seen out there.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Montré, do you have anything to add from your perspective?
Let me unmute. Okay, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me? Okay, so it was just such an impactful experience, just to emphasize the community and support. I was extremely intimidated by the whole PledgeLA Grid 110 family at first, and was actually introduced through Esene from Skin Muse, and Elle, I know you're in here, Miss Michelle. So just being a part of this ecosystem and network matters. Like, definitely don't have a huge group of like support when it comes to being an entrepreneur and pushing your business forward. And I think just being a part of the program really allowed us to tap into different areas of our business while still being focused on like the overall picture of like making an impact. And this was like post COVID. So to Jocelyn's point of like meeting LA founders, it was always, everything was online. So it was so refreshing to just have people in person who are, you know, hustling for their business, and just local where you can meet and connect with. And then just the experts alone, like I'm still having office hours and meetings with them, just trying to grow and develop the business. And it's just the generational impact. I feel like it's just a family that's going to be through the life cycle of my business. So it's super exciting to have that type of value. And it's literally a unicorn. Like, I don't know where you can find a program like this. If you know of one, please drop it in the chat, because I have yet to discover something so impactful. So thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing that. So apart from, being part of the program cohort and participating in it, a lot of people want to know about the funding, like the 25K. So let's talk a little bit about the grant. How did the funding help support your businesses? Either of you, whoever wants to jump in first.
I can go. So basically, we're like really at a pivotal point of our business. We had just partnered with Target, and so it was super scary, and we didn't know what to do. We didn't know if we wanted to take on additional capital to help fuel the relationship. And PledgeLA in the 25K is just an extremely generous, non-dilutive, it's a win. And it was literally a no-brainer, as we were so fortunate to be a part of the program. But it really helped accelerate our growth, and not only help Amp Beauty LA, but our network of beauty brands. We had at the time over 50 beauty brands that came from underrepresented backgrounds. So that was really important for us to not only make an impact through AMP, but be able to scale our network of beauty brands with it, which in turn helps grow and scale our business. So that was just huge. And then also on the marketing side, right? Like marketing, beauty go hand in hand, and just having that budget to be able to allocate and create a strategy, which was huge. And yeah, it's just about the community building, and the 25K really allowed us to do that within our network of beauty brands and help grow our revenue. So that it was huge.
Awesome.
Yeah, it really helped Todo Verde with a huge pivot. And sorry, there's an airplane going over just in case you catch that. But we, in the last 6 months, ran a really big survey for both some retailers that were willing to take our survey, and then also customers, because we had a product line and sort of beta testing in terms of the packaging. And we came to the realization of like, oh, wow, like people love the product itself, the seasoning itself, but they're not loving the format of the tin. It's too expensive, or like there's certain barriers that are created there. So we really use the funding to pivot the production and like recreate the product and new packaging. So it helped with, the design of the new packaging, production of the new packaging, just all the things that it takes to kind of, change that whole format. We also use some of the funding to show at Expo West, which is like the biggest international expo for natural products. And that got us into some retail stores that we just launched at last week. So, it really helped to create like this whole pivot where we're now placing ourselves as a CPG brand versus food service, and the funding, was really important in that big pivot for us.
Yeah, I love just like how differently you use the funds, but also how, obviously it helped provide like some growth for both of your companies. So thank you both for sharing that. So our final question before we jump into the Q&A. So could both of you maybe share an example of like if and how PledgeLA and Grid110 have supported you after the program? Because a lot of these programs, you're part of it, and then, maybe you're promised that there's going to be follow-on support, but, what has that looked like for you, like after being a part of the program? And then Montré, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, so the support is literally endless. I think Mickey is like the Mary Poppins of startups, and Calvin's like the fairy godfather. Like the whole network just has so many resources. I can't even emphasize that enough. But one in particular, the .LA event that they invited me to last year was extremely impactful. I was able to be in a completely new space, and I think it's about like getting in these rooms, right? And then what do you do in these rooms? And not only did they get you in the room or get me in the room, they prepared me through the program to know how to move and maximize those opportunities. and they're still paying dividends. And office hours, Mickey's on my calendar right now. I can religiously will try to figure out how to tap into everyone. Lily and I have gone back and forth about certain things. So you just keeping an open mind and tapping into, just because the program isn't over, like they really make an effort to make sure that they can support you. And I feel like I can come up with an idea of like, yeah, I want to create a UFO to go around Mars, and like people, they would support, they would just like, okay, well, let's break that down and try to figure out how to make it happen. They're not going to make you feel crazy about your ideas. Like they're really here to support you and push your business forward. And that's based on your vision and your trajectory. And that's what I appreciate the most.
Yeah, same. I mean, everything that you said, I would echo. I probably haven't been as good as setting up office hours as I should in the last couple months, but I feel like everybody in the space is accessible. Like, I don't feel like, oh, the program's over, I'm out of the network, I can't, tap somebody on the shoulder. It feels like we're a part of a community that is ongoing. And that is really important. Like, I know I can reach out to somebody and say, hey, do you know somebody who can help with this, that, or whatever? And y'all are really going to come through and make sure to point me in the right direction as best as possible. And so it feels like it's a forever program. It doesn't feel like it has an end.
We love to hear it. Thank you both for sharing, and thank you so much for joining. I think we can transition into opening up for questions from the group. Maybe we can end the spotlights and then go into just gallery view. And for anyone who wants to, raise their hand, feel free to use that function. But I wonder, team, if there are any questions in the chat that we want to bump up, anything that we have yet to answer.
Some I know have been answered, but I know there's some we probably didn't get to.
Awesome. If we want to, maybe I see Rondal. We can maybe start with you. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yep, Rondale. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. This is an amazing program. So really glad to kind of soak in all the benefits. I had a question for the general program, but I'll also tailor it towards our alumni from the program that are here. It's around the team. And so the question I had for the program was, like, when we're applying, I know there are certain questions around the demographics of your team and the makeup. My question is, like, how do we account for potential changes in the team shift? Should we be basing it on the team as of that date of application? And then to kind of tie that to our alumni, I'm curious to know, like, what your team support was like, if that shifted at all during your cohort, and kind of how your team supported you, saw you through, or maybe there were changes. So that's my question.
Maybe I can answer the first part of that around team transition. Thanks for your question, Rondell. So, basically you had it on the head in terms of when you apply, you should describe your team as it is in that case. We are, however, if you're interviewing, going to be talking to you and any co-founders. So, just if there are any transitions coming up, it's probably helpful to share, if there are things, they're the kind of things we should know about. If it's like totally going to change the company or something like that. But yeah, we typically, meet with, if there is a co-founder, meet with both of those at the same time. But alums on the chat, did you want to answer the second part of this question around like team transition stuff during the program?
Am I still able to speak?
We can hear you. Yeah, you're still in gallery.
I think with transition, everyone here is so supportive. And if the team shifts in any way, I know there's just a network. They have a dedicated person. For us, it was Carolyn that, you can speak to and kind of give those kind of run those internal issues or opportunities past the team, and they will give you great advice. But I never felt like there was any restraints and any responsibilities internally with the team at all, as far as, the Grid110 PledgeLA perspective.
Awesome. Maybe we can go to, I'm wondering, do we feel like maybe we should answer some questions in the chat? Is there anything, I don't know, Michelle, is there anything that we want to bump up? I want to give folks in the chat.
I'm actually reading some of the questions right now. I think one of the questions were, sorry guys.
No worries.
Oh, even if one doesn't get funding, can one still be part of the network?
Alvin, do you want to go ahead and answer that?
I love these really tough questions. No, but thank you. So the answer is that it's not the same support we give to our alumni. And that's just because both Grid 110 and PledgeLA, we have a lean, mean, and mighty team, but we really pour a lot of that energy into alumni of the program. But that being said, we do definitely, for folks who are, if I understand that question, is folks who are not accepted and don't get the funding in the program, because there is no tier of companies accepted who don't get funding in the program. All 20 will get funding and get support with Grid 110. But for folks who are not accepted and finalists, we do share other resources of other programs. Grid 110 does operate other programs that may be of interest to you. We also have other programs in the ecosystem we can point you towards. But just to be straight up, no, we don't provide that same ongoing kind of hands-on network kind of support to all folks other than those who are accepted and become alums. Yeah. Unless, Mickey, do you want to share any qualifiers? Am I giving a 2-minute version of that?
No, I was going to add in addition, like and what everybody actually can get is that Elle's primary role is to do community-based events. And so she will create funding pathway panels, pitch workshops, a number of different events that are open to anybody and everybody, because they're mostly virtual. And we tend to record those and we'll put them up on our YouTube channel. I think PledgeLA has done some other similar things where they will host events as well that are more open to the public. So even if we can't work with you in this kind of cohort-based one-on-one strategic support way, between the two of us, as well as other organizations that we know, we share out a wealth of resources. We have an incredible newsletter that goes out once a month that is chock full of grants, other programs, events that you should go to. So lots of things that we do, even if you don't get accepted into the program.
And we're flattered you applied. So we'll answer your email. I'm just being real in terms of the level of, do you get the full alum support? All right.
I was just going to echo Mickey. Like, I think you all have one of the best newsletters with great resources that I have seen. So, definitely subscribe to Grid 110's newsletter. Check out all the upcoming grants with deadlines, upcoming events. It's a must.
Awesome. Okay, I see Rolando, I feel like your hand has been raised for a little bit, so I'll pass it over to you for your question.
First of all, thank you. It's honestly really motivating and inspiring to know that there's opportunities like this within the immediate community. My first question is, I've actually already submitted an application, but once I hear the whole context of all the things that are being taken into consideration, I wanted to know, one, is there a possibility to resubmit with additional data to help better contextualize my company and what we do? And considering that, we're a Latinx owned company, I kind of just wanted to know, considering that there's a lot of people from Latin America who we actually hire out to have better communication with our Spanish speaking clientele here in the US. And we've hired, Latino employees within the US, but we also have people outside of the US. I'm just wondering, how does that variable potentially play? Do you prioritize people who hire more within the US? Because it's kind of funny, we hire people outside of the US because of the currency exchange and how that makes a very significant impact in people's lives. But at the same time, people who generally live outside of the US have a different level of professional speaking Spanish that I feel like is beneficial for conducting our business. So I don't know, I just kind of wanted to hear some feedback in terms of disclosing that information, because I feel like I'm trying to do good, but I don't know if I'm disclosing the wrong things.
Ali, do you want to answer the first part of that question around the resubmission, and I can do the latter half?
Sure, yeah. So I think because of the volume of applications we're getting, we just can't really allow for resubmission or edits, but I would suggest, emailing programs at Grid 110. If you have something that, is significantly different to what you submitted, I understand now that, we're only about a week and a half into the application, and there is more information coming from the info session here. So I would reach out via email And maybe we can get a bit more context as to what that would look like in terms of things that maybe you missed in the first submission to have a better idea from there. And yeah, can work with you that way.
Yeah, and for the latter portion of your question around hiring that certainly wouldn't impact any eligibility in terms of being able to apply for the program, but you may not like this answer, but we would need to just get to know more about your company and read in the application and talk through that. You know, if you're asking sort of, is that exactly what we're looking for in terms of community impact? But yeah, there's nothing about what you shared that should discourage you from applying, and it tells me that anything, you know, other than else, we don't look at hiring. We have had alumni who hire people in and outside of LA.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to pass it over to Brian, if you want to come off mute.
Sorry about that. Just unmuting and removing my filter to not hear my kids upstairs. Thank you guys so much for holding this. My question is a simple one. Just curious, what are common mistakes you found founders in the application process? You know, like kind of things to kind of avoid doing and whatnot.
I wonder maybe Mickey, if you want to answer that question.
Yeah, I'm sure Allie might have some thoughts too. Take your time, like be thoughtful about your responses and answers. I think we can tell applicants who have spent 10 minutes kind of filling it out and just trying to, you know, get it done and over with. This is really your opportunity. I think Allie had mentioned this before, to really brag about yourself. So tell us about, you know, use the full character word limitations to really give us a sense of who you are, what you're building, why you're excited about it. I mean, we really want to get to know you. I think there's a video opportunity where you can do that as well. Anything that is optional, we would encourage you to do it. So if there's, you know, supplemental information that you want to include with your application, even if you don't have a pitch deck, if you have a business plan or a summary or something, maybe it's photos of the products that you have, or anything that you'd like to share with us, mock-ups of the website that you're planning on launching. I would just say, put your best self forward. And spend some time on the application. You know, you've got plenty of time to submit it. Take a weekend to do it. You've got visibility on all the questions. Maybe have somebody else read over it to make sure that what you're trying to communicate is really coming through. I think that those are some tips. Allie, anything additional you'd like to add?
No, I think that hit on it perfectly. I think, yeah, definitely, you know, can be helpful to have that outside perspective since you're so close to the work day to day to, you know, maybe your advisors or friends that have been with you along the journey to help kind of illuminate some of those steps you've had along the way or milestones that you want to highlight. Yeah, and definitely take your time with the answers and the video and be thoughtful about it. Just to kind of answer, I think, a question that came up earlier too, that we're not accepting them on a rolling basis. So really take your time, you know, you have a couple weeks here. So really, yeah, be thoughtful about those answers and the application altogether.
All right, thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm going to pass it over to Zahn, if you want to come off mute.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zahn. I'm in the Grid110 mentorship program. So I see some of my fellow folks in the cohort. So hey, y'all. So my question is about the community impact and community engagement portion, because I have a fashion brand. And I know some folks that are in, you know, like e-commerce or even like beauty. Even though I do have a social impact aspect, I haven't really started that part yet. So is it okay to kind of say, you know, this is what I intend to do for the community, or this is how I intend to, I guess this question is job retention and workforce development different from like community impact and engagement? And if you haven't started the community impact engagement part yet, can you just speak to how you will in the next 3 to 6 months?
I'll jump in real quickly. Yeah. So yeah, the answer is, yeah, I would say respond in the way that's most authentic to your business. So we're not looking for any kind of cookie cutter, like, you know, you have a mural painting program in this part of town. So if it's something that is the way that you're intending to have impact, and if it's something that realistically, you know, you're going to ramp up when your business reaches a certain point in 1 year, just tell us about that. And yeah, I'd say that all those responses tend to vary a lot business to business. Some businesses, it's a lot about hiring, and where they're planning to have their workforce come from. Some are a lot about procurement and the vendors they work with. So, I would just say share, whatever the truest example of that in the way that you would plan to normally conduct your business operations. Yeah. Did that make sense?
I would also add that if there's something that you individually do that is, community focused, whether maybe you mentor, you volunteer, like it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically your company. It could be you as individuals, like how you spend your personal time. I think we just want to know like how you get involved in the community, how you're thinking about getting involved in the community. Is that important to you?
Definitely. And just for clarity, that is different from like workforce development and hiring. Like those are two separate things.
That could be part of it. It could be the same thing. So that could be your kind of community impact. If you say my business plays a big part in workforce development, I have a bit, like we've had alumni who that's kind of their main thing. They thought about their business, but they had a whole other vision around I'm intersecting with this. Like this founder was interested in the community college workforce and had a whole just vision around that. So that was the kind of impact that they chose to emphasize. So that workforce development is definitely a kind of impact that would be okay.
Thank you both.
Okay, amazing. I know that we're almost at time, but Leslie, if your question is quick, I think we can add it if you want to come off mute.
Hi, yeah, a really quick question. So I wanted to know when the grant is given to the person, do we have to pay it back once we build our program, our business?
No, so this is the way that the funding is technically categorized. This is a stipend. So all businesses that participate in the program get this as a stipend, which is just a benefit you receive for your time you're in the program. You do not have to pay the funding back. It is not a loan, and nothing is taken in from your business. No equity, no control from all of you. You might decide in the middle, hey, I'm actually going to spend it on this because after that great workshop and conversation, I'm going to pivot a little bit. We just want to be, we just ask you about how do you plan to use the funds? How will you use 25? We want to know, like, is this someone who's going to use it as a great opportunity? That is the level of our expectation, but there's no repayment at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing to mention, because I saw another question in the chat around the mechanics of this. We do encourage businesses that are applying to talk to their tax preparer so that you can understand, because you are getting $25,000 of income for your business. We want you to plan appropriately for any tax impact that may have on you, which of course looks so different from business to business, depending on how you're incorporated, your stage, how much other revenue you have. So if you're interested, maybe talk to that CPA and say, hey, I might get $25,000. What will that do to me, or will I have to owe any back? So we want to make sure it's going to work out best for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much to each and every one of you.
Awesome. Okay, we want to be mindful of time. So I think, I don't know, I know Calvin and I will hang back a little bit to answer a few more questions for like a few more minutes, but to everyone who needs to hop off, we want to just say thank you so much for joining this session. A very, very special thank you to Montré and to Jocelyn for sharing your wisdom, sharing your experiences, and just sharing the space with us. We highly encourage you to reach out to us at our info@pledgela.org email address, which is in the chat. I'll add it again there as well. If you have any lingering questions, and please don't be a stranger. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And thank you so much for joining. Have a great rest of the evening.
Does anyone have any other questions? If you want to hang out, we can answer a couple more. Let's see, Leslie, do you want to jump on with your question?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I forgot to lower my hand.
Oh, no worries.
Have a beautiful day. Thank you so
you.
much.
You too.
Rondell, I see.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to follow up on a question that was posted in the chat by Selena, just around like the business being, like if the business was previously registered in a different state, does that still qualify? Like if you have an address in LA, any extra context you can give around being based in LA would be helpful.
Yeah. So Nikki, help me out if I misspeak on any of this too, but because I think we have had some businesses that have had been specifically incorporated in another state, but have primary operations in Los Angeles. We need to understand how your business operates and is located in LA. So if you answer that question, we're just trying to focused on businesses that are actually here versus some that are like, well, I come to LA once a month and, and a couple of us are in another state. So we're flexible somewhat in terms of how that shows up. Like we have people who they have one location of a warehouse here or things like that. But if you have the questions, the best way to figure out is just for your business. Email us with your exact situation so we can answer that up or down for you about any specific incorporation or things like that. But Mickey, is there anything else you would answer that?
No, yeah, that's totally fine. I think we're really focused on entrepreneurs and companies that are wanting to build their businesses here in Los Angeles that can benefit from the network, the connection, the resources, all of that. If you have a co-founder based somewhere else, that's totally fine. If you've moved from a location and now you're kind of transplanted here in LA, great, welcome. We want to support you.
Thanks. Rolando?
Hey, how's it going? I'm back. So I wanted to know if in the program it's ever been discussed to have help in terms of like fiscal sponsorship, because there's this, and I really like that the grant is, doesn't involve giving a part of your business to somebody, because that could become very sticky territory. But I've heard of people, I don't know if I fully understand the concept, but hence the reason for the question, because I would like to understand how it works in terms of where there's, I think, a nonprofit entity that acts as the source that receives the funds for you, where if you have either a company or individual who has a high tax liability, where it's kind of like, it's a different way of finding funds. But I guess maybe just my feedback for whatever it may be, if I found more ways to do that, I think as an individual and as a company owner, I can bring a proposition to somebody instead of like, hey, give me your money. It's like, well, this is going to benefit your taxes, and I technically don't need to give a portion of my business. So maybe, I guess the question is, do you guys help with that, or has there been conversations around that?
I think I understand your question. So if you're talking about fiscal sponsorship, so fiscal sponsors sometimes can kind of act as that 501c3 agent for nonprofits or nonprofits that haven't yet incorporated their own 501c3 and receive funding through that. So we do work with a fiscal sponsor, but just one for the program. We do not set them up for people in the program. And that's typically because we require that applicants be for-profit businesses. So all the people in the program should have for-profit businesses. If you're curious about fiscal sponsorship and there's like a side initiative, or you might have a spinoff or something that's more in the nonprofit lane, we can connect you with some of the folks who are doing fiscal sponsorship in LA, but it's not one of the topics of our program, just because we focus on the for-profit operations.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, probably have time for one or two more questions just to leave. But yeah, if you have them in the chat, we'll drop them in. We want to make sure we're respectful to everyone. But Eartha by Amir.
Hi, thank you so much. Yeah, my question is quick. It's in regards to the response questions on the application. I know you guys touched on earlier about the 500 character limit, but I just wanted to also get clarity because it says no more than 3 to 4 sentences. And so is it no more than 3 to 4 sentences between 500 characters, or is it, because I can put 5 sentences under 500 characters, so just wanted to get some clarity with that.
Characters is the technical cutoff, right, Ali? The sentence is a suggestion to help you kind of frame and think about it, yeah. But we have seen, I put in the thing, we have seen people like, the most important thing about my company is, because people sometimes will paste it. So that's another great time. I'm not making fun of folks who that's happened to, but just to, if you have that second Word doc, you can do that character count and see how many characters before you drop it in.
Right, gotcha. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Pilar?
Yeah, thank you. I was just also following up my question on the chat. I just want to know, when you are evaluating the startups, there is something specifically that you prioritize in terms of competition. So for example, it's better a startup that has traction over another one that's make more social impact.
Yeah, so we do look both at traction and community impact. I think the most successful companies are the ones that have the strongest cases of traction, but it's part of the whole package. So if we do all of those things we saw on eligibility, we really look at the holistic picture, and our application reviewers and interviewers, they score each of those things so that it's sort of the holistic picture. But yeah, I'd say a company with the strongest traction, I'd say probably, would be a little bit more successful than one that had not a successful traction, but some community impact, because it is something that we require to look.
Okay, thank you.
Well, is there any last questions in the chat? If not, I think we can get ready to wrap it up. But just want to thank everyone again for coming. And yeah, Lily, let me pass it back to you to close us off officially, please.
Yeah, just echoing Calvin, thank you so much for joining. I'm dropping our email address again, info@pledgela.org in the chat. For any lingering questions, please reach out to us. Do not be a stranger. We're happy to clarify anything. And yeah, wishing you all the best of luck for those of you that are applying, and have a great rest of the evening.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks so much, team.